What is up, car addicts? Today I'll be announcing a new series officially coming to the channel in just a few short days. So, after recently going to an event hosted by Jeep, I was inspired by the way they prove their vehicles have what it takes. How exactly do they do this? They create a course with different types of obstacles to prove to the customer what the vehicle can do and how well it can do it. The footage you see in the background is not mine. It was provided by FCA North America on YouTube. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to capture any film. I'll leave a link to their channel in the description. So, with the recent addition of the Canis Camacho, I felt we have gotten plenty of off-road vehicles over the years to make a separate series dedicated to testing different types of off-road capable vehicles. I have named the series Off-Road Capability. In collaboration with one of the best race creators I know, JudoJoker, over the past week, we have been designing each obstacle one at a time, as well as scoring factors to make this one of the best off-road proving grounds ever. This will serve as an informational video to show how each obstacle will be scored in detail. To make it easier for all of us to comprehend, I have created a spreadsheet containing the different types of obstacles. I have limited the obstacles to a total of 10. The vehicle can receive up to 10 points in each obstacle, so a perfect total score would be 100, which we can also call an A+, or a 94 an A-, so on and so forth. So now I'm going to show you guys what each obstacle looks like, as well as how the points are determined. Most of these scores will be determined by the vehicle itself. Others will be subjectively determined, which means that's based on my feel. Every vehicle will be tested fully upgraded with all performance modifications, full armor, bulletproof tires, and off-road tires, so that it is as fair as possible. The only thing we will keep stock are the front and rear bumpers and side steps / side skirts for maximum ground clearance. So our first obstacle is the incline. This obstacle tests how well the vehicle can climb without including the off-road traction factor. For a vehicle to be successful here, it will require a good power to weight ratio as well as traction. As you can see, there are exactly 10 red lines on the side. The way the score is determined is how far the vehicle can go up, not once, but twice. Please keep in mind that the vehicle will be accelerated fully from the respective staging line. The first stage will be the front tire up against the incline. The second stage will be the rear tire up against the incline. These two scores will be average and provide one score for this test. Our second test will be the dirt incline. This obstacle tests how well the vehicle can climb, including the off-road traction factor. For a vehicle to be successful here, it will require a good power to weight ratio as well as off-road traction. The vehicle will be staged behind this green line and then fully accelerated up the incline. The way the score is determined here is very simple. If it makes it to the top, it will earn the full 10 points. If it does not make it to the top, it will be deducted points for every building block square it has not passed. Our third test is the dirt braking test. This obstacle tests how well the vehicle can stop in a downhill situation. For a vehicle to be successful here, it will require a good brake to weight ratio as well as off-road traction. The front tire of the vehicle will be staged next to this orange cone, and the brake will be released to allow it to roll down. The regular brakes will be applied after it passes the first red building block. The way the score is determined here is very simple. If it stops before the last red square, it will earn the full 10 points. However, it will be deducted double points for every silver marker it passes. Our fourth test is the rock crawling test. This obstacle tests how well the vehicle can climb obstacles at different height levels. For a vehicle to be successful here, It will require a decent amount of torque, traction, and very good ground clearance. The vehicle will be centered and lined up to the orange line and then driven slowly up the rocks. There will be 2 stages for this test. The first will be determined based on how many times the vehicle bottoms out, meaning how many times the center of the vehicle scratches on the rock. It will start off with a full score of 10 and then lose a point for every time it bottoms out on one of the rocks. The second stage will be subjectively determined based on how well I think it climbs the rocks. The 2 stage scores will be averaged into one score for this test. The 5th test is the Powertrain test. This obstacle tests how well the vehicle can put power to each wheel. For a vehicle to be successful here, it will require a good amount of torque balance propelled to each wheel. The vehicle will be centered and lined up to the purple line and then driven up slowly and throttle controlled throughout the uneven incline. The more the tires grip, the better the score. The more the tires spin and smoke, the less of a score it will get. This test will be subjectively scored. The 6th test is the bumper clearance test. This obstacle tests how good the front and rear bumper ground clearance is. The vehicle will be centered and lined up to the yellow line and then driven very slowly down the bumps. It will start off with a full score of 10 and then lose a point for every time the front and rear bumper touches/scratches the bumps. The 7th test is a suspension travel test. This obstacle tests how far the suspension can max out. The vehicle will be lined up to the white line and then driven slowly up the uneven ramps until the driver's side front tire is up in the air. The way the score is determined is based on these silver markers. The vehicle will be reversed slowly until the tire touches the ground. For every marker it has passed, it will be given 2 points. Since there are only 5 markers, each one will count as 2 points. If it happens to fall between 2 markers, it will be given an extra point. The 8th test is the high-speed stability test. This obstacle tests how well the suspension components absorb the bumps at a high rate of speed. The vehicle will be centered and lined up to the pink line. It will then be fully accelerated over the bumps. Each bump is approximately the height of a normal speed bump, and they are dispersed unequally in order to individually lift each wheel at different times. This test will be subjectively scored based on how stable I think the vehicle felt. The 9th test is the deep water testing. This obstacle tests how well the vehicle can sustain different depths of water. For a vehicle to be successful here, it will require good ground clearance, traction, and a high resistance to water damage. The vehicle will be straightened and lined up to the last blue line. It will then be fully accelerated into the gradually increasing water depth. This will be done twice on both sides, with a respawn to repair the vehicle before each test. The left side is stage 1 at a challenging water depth. The right side is a stage 2, an intense water depth only few vehicles can survive. The way this will be measured is after the blue starting line, each large red block passed will be 1 point. The vehicle is considered dead when the game automatically respawns me. The points accumulated before the screen dims for the respawn is the score it will receive for that respected stage. The 2 stage scores will be averaged into 1 score for this test. And lastly, we have our 10th obstacle, which is the dirt acceleration test. This obstacle tests how quickly the vehicle can complete the quarter-mile distance. For a vehicle to be successful here, it will require very good acceleration and a very low off-road speed loss value. The vehicle will be centered and lined up to the black starting line. It will then be handbrake launched, giving it the most amount of throttle possible without excessively spinning the tires off the line. The way the score will be determined is based on the time it completes the quarter mile. The highest score of 10 will be for a 10-second quarter mile. An 11-second quarter mile will result in a score of 9. A 12-second quarter mile will result in a score of 8, so on and so forth. Well guys, I hope that was helpful. That was as far as I can go into detail in order to help you guys understand how each obstacle works and how it is judged. Please keep in mind that I will not be explaining how each obstacle works and how it's judged in every single off-road capability video I post. I will reference the link to this video if the person wants to know how exactly the vehicle is given the scores. If you ever forget how a certain obstacle is scored, you can always come back to this video. I will have the timestamps for each obstacle in the pinned comment to make it quicker to find in the future. Also, as far as the spreadsheet, the specific vehicles tested will have a scored spreadsheet shown at the end. Please keep in mind that the latest spreadsheet with the most updated scores and recent vehicles tested so far will be in the description of every off-road capability video. Well, that's it guys. Stay tuned for the first off-road capability video, which will be all the Canis vehicles, which are the Jeeps, next week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Can I break this hold from you? It would mean everything to me if I do. Tired of hearing excuses you make.